everybody.
Hello.
Hey.
Welcome to our holiday edition of Among Orchids. I'm Abigail Madden. I'm the Managing Director of A Red Orchid, and I'm really excited to be here tonight with a couple of the Orchid Ensemble members. So we're going to be talking about joy tonight in true holiday spirit. And I'd love to just first introduce everybody. So what I think I'm going to do is maybe I'll throw it to one person, and why don't you tell us who you are and how long you've been with the Red Orchid, and maybe what your first production was with the Red Orchid. And then when you're done, why don't you throw it to somebody else? So I'm going to start with Mierka. Why don't you tell us a little about yourself?
Sure. Hey, everybody. My name is Mierka Girten, and I have been an ensemble member for I don't know how many years. I really don't know, but I can tell you my first show was The Treatment with some other ensemble members, one of whom is on this panel today.
With me.
Yes. Vickers. Yes. How many years ago was that? I don't even know.
22 years ago. Yep.
22 years, everybody. Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna throw it to Doug since he was just there.
Hello. My name is Doug Vickers, and I'm a member of the Red Orchid Ensemble, an actor, bon vivant, and
Citywide Gadfly. Don't forget Citywide Gadfly.
And my first show at Red Orchid was it opened in January of 1996, the Cane Mutiny Court Martial. That was quite a fine production, and there have been many fine productions since then. And now, without further ado, I'm going to throw it to the esteemed Karen Kessler.
That would be me. Hi, I'm Karen Kessler. I'm in the ensemble. I'm a director. And my first show before I was a member of the ensemble was Mr. Culprit. So you start right away with this mayhem and murder. And I've done a lot of very strange plays where lots of people die. I mean, that's a Red Orchid staple, but I seem to have done my share of those. I think I somewhere between Mr. Culprit and Gagarin Way is when I became a company member. I think 2003 or 2004. So a while. So that's what I do, and I teach at a university in Indiana, which is where I'm in. This is my lovely home in Indiana, and that's what I do. And Lance.
Hello. Lance Baker, ensemble member since I didn't know there'd be a quiz. I would have looked this up. This was the early aughts. I had done a show without being an ensemble member. My first show was The Gray Zone, which, speaking of plays where a lot of people die. That was a Holocaust-themed play in what was otherwise a joyous year of 2001. I came to Red Orchid at a dark time, like we are finding ourselves in now. So this does feel a little bit like home. We are the artists who can go there. The artists who go there. There's a good catchphrase for our next T-shirt. And I hope to go there again very soon. But
joy time.
Joy time.
Yes, we're talking about joy and gratefulness, as I said, in the holiday season. So Doug, tell me, what about being an artist brings you joy?
I mean, all the usual things, I guess, that people say. That I happen to have chosen a rather kind of pedestrian path of working in the corporate world for many years. So when I get to the theater, when I get to the space, then that is the playtime and time to have fun. So that is what, brings me joy, certainly.
And I know you've done a lot of work. Is there Is there something about a red orchid in particular what is it about a red orchid, Doug or anybody?
I can take that one just for a
Yeah.
second. I know the easy answer for me is that when you work with this ensemble and the people who come to work with us, or if you go to see a show that the ensemble's done that you're not necessarily directly involved in, but you're seeing it, there seems to be just a very basic rule about no cheating. Everybody's in it all the time. Everybody's working their butts off and doing everything they can do to tell the story as well as they can tell the story. And there's an expectation in the best possible way when you're working with people that they're going to be giving everything they've got, which means you got to give everything you have to give. And it's fun to walk into some place it's not competitive at all. It's fun to walk into some place and say, I owe everybody my best because they're going to be giving their best. And whether that's something funny and odd and funny and sad like Trevor, or whether it's the Nether that Doug and I did together, or whether it's Gray Zone, or something along those lines. It's everybody comes to tell the story and do their best job, and that's why to me it's the best place I've ever worked. It's the best, and I've worked at great, wonderful theaters, but it's the best place I've ever worked.
Yeah, I keyed into one thing you just mentioned. It's never competitive. It's all about the work and the fun. And I haven't found that completely at some other theaters.
One of the things that I love that we always have kind of used as a tagline, but we say there's nowhere to hide, right? I mean, the intimacy of that space just doesn't afford it. And so I love, Karen, what you're saying about bringing your A game. And I think one of the things that I love about that space is that there is so much honesty, but also that the audience is such a part of it, right? So the proximity to the story that's being told, literally, if there's only 2 rows. So if you're in that front row, your feet are in
There's 4.
room, right? So there are 4 on the sides and 2 in the middle, right? But yeah, so I think, that journey that the audience gets taken on with y'all is really special. And one of my favorite things are the post-show discussions that happen afterwards, where people are allowed to really express what they're thinking after just being smacked in the head with whatever story we just told them. And I love the openness that the ensemble gives in those discussions of being on that journey and making staying fresh in those discoveries. It's always really exciting for me to see how the audience reacts and how everybody's right in their reaction. 2 people sitting next to each other could have a totally different experience, and nobody's wrong in that. So it's exciting every time.
It's something you don't get from movies or TV or anything like that, or even people who do the new media, the podcasts, the streams, just to be able to come out after presenting your work and then have a one-on-one, eye-to-eye conversation with people immediately about their impressions of what they've just seen. And as an artist who really does it, I believe, for the people, as it were, that is so gratifying, because it's going to university every day. It's seeing what works, what doesn't, being able to change this or that, tweak this or that, and sometimes it's just pure gratitude coming back at you. Just people who had their world shaken a little bit and are eager to have it happen again, especially first timers. Sometimes they're just slack-jawed that a process like this even exists in American art. that you basically are being served to almost a la carte, almost on a one-on-one basis. Sometimes we've got 15, 20 people in a cast in a house that holds 70, and I just love seeing the overwhelming look on people's faces as they're being enveloped with an experience, and that is always such a great joyful moment. Having been somebody who's been trying to play to the 20th, 25th row occasionally, it is so much nicer to see the light raise of an eyebrow, or the dark chuckle that you wouldn't have heard in larger theaters. That really knows you've really hit a moment, and that everybody else in the room knows that you hit that moment with that person, and then they have to come to terms with how they feel about how that person reacted. It's very communal, and it's not as easy to get lost in a Red Orchid as it is in a lot of other theaters.
Or other moments like the checking of the watch, the spitting out of the gum,
Wrapping of the candy. Yeah.
And wrapping of the candy.
Yeah.
Mierka, what's a specific memory from a Red Orchid, a show, or anything that comes to mind that makes you happy?
Well, of like specific, there have been so many different specific moments, but for me, it's so gratifying to have this script land in front of you, to have the first reading to the collaboration of all these great artists. There's nothing like it, especially at Red Orchid, because we kind of all hold each other accountable. When I've argued with a few close friends, it's like, let me fail on my own. It's like, no, I can't let you fail on your own, because if you go down, we all go down, because we're all responsible for this play. We're all holding on for dear life to make it the best that it can be. But I do have to say that a specific memory that brought me much, much joy was when I was doing Becky Shaw, and I was playing a character that a lot of people didn't like very much. Sometimes when I would say something, I'd hear people in the audience say, God, I hate her. And I was like, yes, I'm doing my job, people. I've done it and I've succeeded. So that has always brought me pure joy when I had to piss people off as Becky Shaw.
Isn't it so glorious when they talk back, when they actually may be used to larger theaters and think that their little mutterance is not going to be audible to any of the participants, but yet we're right there. We're 2 feet away from you, my brother.
Yeah, we can hear, I can see, I can see everything going on right here. Everything from the nose picking to the candy chewing to the whispering to the, it's fun.
This reminds me of, if you talk about joy, and talking back to the stage too. All of this reminds me of the Meek from, I think, 07, enigmatic play, you might say, by one of our ensemble playwrights, Brett Neveu. That particular production brought me much joy because it was so damn silly. We were extremely silly, in fact, during that entire rehearsal process.
Well, we had to be.
And on stage. Do you recall?
Yeah, I remember. I also remember have been dead next to a Mr. Keith Kupfer. Both of us supposed to be dead. And we could hear each other like breathing. It was pretty goofy, but yes.
And then
stay in character, isn't it? When the corpse next to you is breathing, it's just hard to really maintain an idea.
And
but it's so expensive to actually keep killing actors, so you have to let them live.
Yeah.
As soon as we heard Keith up for his price, we knew that was out.
No, I think Doug's referring to the many times when he would come over and maybe whisper something that wasn't written in the script.
Doug would do that?
Maybe something like that. Just a little bit.
Oh, moi?
when there was
Oh.
like maybe a gun in your hand, the fiery fire.
I might have done that. I might have gone a little overboard
I
with
mean,
my
who's to tell?
improvisation in that. However, our talented Stephanie Heller corrected me on those moments and kept the quality of the performance intact.
She did the best she could.
So thank you, Stephanie.
Put it
That
that
would
way.
be that would be the illustrious stage manager, Stephanie.
The illustrious, one of our illustrious resident ensemble stage managers. Yes, indeed.
Who
But,
has the difficult job sometimes of trying to keep Doug contained.
yeah.
She runs a
So
What they
tight
used to,
ship.
what they used to say about Michael Jordan, you cannot contain Michael Jordan. You cannot contain Doug Vickers.
no, people talking. I had a monologue in that show, The Meek, and one guy one night continued to talk back to me during the monologue. That was a memorable evening. So
Yeah.
Did
And
you
he's like,
break? Did
yeah, you tell him. Yeah,
And like that's what I'm talking about. I was like, wow, yeah.
right. Intimate live theater is what it's all about. Anyway,
Yes.
Karen, what about you? What's a favorite Red Orchid memory that brings a smile to your face?
On a show I was working on, it has to be Mr. Colpert, because it was working with Larry the first time, Larry Graham, who I adore working with and love. He's such a wonderful actor, and Mike was in that, and a couple other actors, Stephanie Childers and Jane Baxter Miller and Nick Chimino were in that, but there's a very grisly fight scene in that, and it was Stephanie Childers essentially beating somebody to death. And the fight choreographer and I were having a good time trying, because it's supposed to be both comic and super dark at the same time, but funny and dark at the same time. And Larry just kept going, "What's wrong with you people? What's wrong with you people?" And I'm like, "Larry, it's supposed to be funny and dark. We're trying to get to funny and dark." And he was kind of appalled, and we were just getting to know each other. Larry and I have worked together a bunch of times now, but it was so, I think he was shocked at how kind of willing I was to dive into the strangeness and horror of Mr. Colbert. And it's strange.
How you all were.
Yeah,
What scared
It
you.
was a strange and horrible show, but it was also fantastic. And the one I have to say, I mean, so many, as an audience member, so many, I mean, the first time I saw Abigail's Party, which I saw, I think 5 times during the run, the first time I saw Trevor, The Unseen, there's so many plays and they're so different from each other, and watching them and just having the experience of, I'm not talking about being the proud, like, ownership. I'm just talking about going, how lucky am I that I get to live in this, that I get to live and work in this place, that I get to be part of this, that I get to be, that these are the people I am doing my artistic work with. Because I mean, to me, that's a huge amount of joy, because you just sit there and you go, these are people doing an exemplary work. God, The Mutilated, just honest to God, I cried. I saw it 3 times. I cried every single time, and I loved it. And all of these 3 were wonderful in it, and it was wonderful. It was an amazing show, and to get there, to sit and watch it was, I mean, Dado's work was amazing, but all the actors were amazing. And that's the kind of stuff I love. I love sitting and saying, these are people. I mean, the irony of this is I've never worked with Mookie and I've never worked with Lance, which is so weird. Doug and I've worked together.
Yeah.
Doug and I've worked together a bunch of times. It's just never worked out in terms of shows. Larry and I've worked out a bunch of times. Kira and I've worked a bunch of times, but it's not you know, Guy and I've worked together a bunch of times. It's how the shows land sometimes, right? But to sit and watch and say, look at the work that's being done here. I'm floored by the, you know, Dato's directing and Shade's directing and Jess's directing. And I'm floored by the actors we have and the designers we have. That's what gives me joy. That's what I think sometimes I enjoy being an audience member on shows I haven't been directly involved with as much as I enjoy doing a show just to get to see what's being done.
That's great.
Well, may I say that Mr. Culprit is still very vivid in my memory. It was a incredibly dark and entertaining pageant. Oh my, yes.
For those of you who don't know Mr. Culprit that are listening, basically it's a very, very nihilistic play, just kind of about a people who've killed somebody and they're just waiting for their guests to find out that if you took kind of Rope, the Alfred Hitchcock movie, and I don't know, Monty Python and Pinter, and kind of smushed them all together.
Yeah.
And made it German, so everybody's naked and crying at the end or dead. That's kind of Mr. Culprit.
And vomiting. I made the vomit.
There was some vomiting. There was some
I made
vomiting.
the vomit, so vomiting. Yeah.
Blood and vomit and nudity. We hit all of the Red Orchid bingo.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. We do need bingo cards. That's good for when we come back.
Red Orchid bingo.
I think one of the things that people ask a lot, what does an ensemble theater mean? What is that? And I really feel like as somebody that runs the administrative side of things, I'm so grateful and have so much appreciation for what we do on stage, but oftentimes there's a lot happening on the behind the scenes that people don't see, and that people in this ensemble are pitching in. And some of my favorite memories from being at a Red Orchid over the past couple of years are those times. And I think back to all the times that Mierka has come and cleaned that upstairs space with me. And I mean, who does that, right? Like, she comes in on her days off and scrubs down the bathroom when nobody else will do it. And we're buried in work and the phone's ringing off the hook and she comes in. And so I think, people pitch in the truest sense of the word. There was a moment last summer where we needed to repaint the bathrooms downstairs. Michael Shannon happened to be in town, even though he primarily lives in New York, and he came in for the day, and he and I painted the bathrooms downstairs and listened to music and had a good time. And
that's amazing. Yeah.
He swears that his bathroom's better than mine. So next I'm not going to tell you who painted which one. And next time you're there, you'll have to see which bathroom is better, because I do think I was the better painter.
Yes.
But there's memories like that with so many of the ensemble where people just come in, they know that it's a shared space, and that, as the administrative side gets swamped in our daily work, sometimes we don't have time to take care of the space. And so everybody pitches in and helps out. And I'm so grateful for that. And it brings me joy to spend time with you all in that way, because that's where I really get to know you and become friends with you, and just continued gratefulness for that. So
I did box office for a long time, and I remember one show, I can't remember what it was, but I did box office for it for a while, but I was in the show, and I can't remember what it was.
With rollers in our hair, like, hold on 1 second, please, let me add that up.
Yeah, so it was like, you see me now, you see me on stage. It's an amazing transformation.
Yes, yes. I somehow was in charge of box office for the first ever gala, if you will. It wasn't even a gala, it was like a fundraiser. And I would pay the ticket to even just come and enjoy myself. And they're like, you're working the front door. I was like, okay, all right. That was Guy Van Swearenden. He made me do it.
No fun for you, Mierka. You're in charge of the money.
I was just hanging out.
I think also speaking of those benefits, there's been, we have a season opening party every year for the past couple of years, and we've had bands come in and live music, and one of my favorite Lance memories off stage is when we had our, I guess this was a season closing party. We had it at the Double Door, and you got up and sang a Black Crowes song with my husband's band. It was pretty awesome in your mutilated costume, which was great. We've got some pictures.
Was a strange drunken choice of mine, yes, but
Everybody has their go-to karaoke song, but I remember.
I do, but my go-to karaoke's are like too mainstream for a Red Orchid. I always got to like
Right.
into the vinyl bin.
Doug, what's your go-to karaoke?
Yeah, I was about to ask him the same thing.
I'm really apprehensive about doing karaoke, but in fact, the only 2 times I've done it, I did Angie Baby by the recently deceased Helen Reddy. That was one of her hits.
That's a dark
in the mid-70s.
Yeah, it's got a very dark chord structure there.
It's a dark, dark piece. And then also Kate Buttke and I did I Got You, Babe, one evening. Yeah.
Doug, don't forget you also have an open promise to me that I have not taken you up on for a karaoke night.
Right.
We have a duet planned that will go unnamed right now because we want to build some suspense, but I have seen so that
absolutely, yes. I think we agreed on the song. Yes.
We have the song. We just have not had the chance to do it. So
yes.
Tuned, everyone.
That was one of the last things I did before lockdown was go to my favorite karaoke bar one last time. And I was basically like 1/3 of the entire clientele, but I just had to get in there right when they opened so that everyone wasn't breathing COVID onto the microphone all day before I got there.
So what did you sing, Lance? What did you sing in your final outing pre-COVID?
Yes. Born to Run is basically my go-to, honestly. Just because the opening chords are very exciting and everyone gets, everybody starts leaning in and it's like, is he going to pull it off? And I don't really pull it off in like a Bruce Springsteen way. It's more like A for Enthusiasm.
Nice.
Also, Springsteen's cover of Tom Waits' Jersey Girl, I highly recommend. That is a... Can
you get the cover on the cover of the song in karaoke? I didn't know you could do that.
Oh, well, his cover it's like Santa Claus is Coming to Town. You know, when Bruce Springsteen covers something, it's sort of
a cover, yes.
Yeah. So I look forward to that, guys.
So what is bringing you all joy during this time while we're not together making theater? What's I'm gonna throw this to Mierka because I know Mierka's been working on some special projects that have been bringing her joy. So Mierka, can you tell us about that?
Sure. So I started by recycling boxes, boxes from gifts or cigar boxes from the Old Town, the cigar place, and just kind of feeling out people on Facebook, or from what I would hear, if someone was having a hard time or depressed or, needed something. I started making these joy boxes, and they started out very small, and I kind of made these little, a little bag of things that you will use, something that you will need someday. Whether it be like a nail file or like a mint for your breath or like something, just something. So I made these little things, these little bags of things, and I started taking the images from my childhood books and kind of decoupaging them over the boxes. And then, well, I'll just show you one. Well, here's one that I'm making for some friends. This is an old cigar box. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But all these are images from my childhood books, and then I fill them with either candy or stories or just little things, and then I get them to people. I either send them to them or leave them on their desk, or
Mookie, that's beautiful.
That's gorgeous. That's
So,
beautiful.
I've
Yeah.
I've made like 24 of those, I think, during COVID, and I'm working on my last 4, I think, for right now. And one is, one is for couple, some couple of my friends that I know that I want to drop off for the holidays. So that's what I've been doing,
That's
and it just
fantastic.
thank you. So it's a way of just like reusing things and also just making people know that they're not alone. So that's what I've been.
So I have to tell you all, I have been going into my office a couple days a week. We're primarily working from home as Red Orchid staff, but I go in a couple times a week to check on the office and get things done. And one day I showed up to the office and there was a box on my desk and
Aw.
ribbon on it and these pictures, and I opened it up and it had all these little presents in it, and I burst into tears of joy. It was so thoughtful, and I was so grateful, and it was from Mierka. It was a joy box. It was so sweet. So your joy is and thank you for
That's beautiful.
That's fantastic.
it was really lovely.
Don't feel bad if you haven't gotten one yet.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, that's beautiful.
But thank
Well,
you.
also, you wanted to take care of the people that were the most important to you first, right? So
Yeah.
it makes sense that I was one of the first ones to get it, right? And
Yes.
Doug still has not received his. That
I
checks out.
actually feel kind of bad for the people who got the first batch because they were like really, really small and I didn't know how to make them yet. And so they were like taped and there were like some candy thrown in there. And then they get it and I'd be like, did you get your box? Did you get your box? And they'd be like, yeah. That was cool.
Mine was way better than that.
Yeah, so it took me like 7 months to finally get good at it.
As long as he's not here or part of this Zoom, but I should mention that another member of the ensemble has given me joy in perhaps a similar way, Lawrence Grimm. During COVID, he has brought me food, and food equals joy for me. And so he's brought me matzo ball soup, lasagna, homemade bread, or what, I mean, just.
Nice, I didn't get any of that.
So thank you, Larry.
I got none of that down in Indiana either.
Yeah.
Abby, did you get matzo ball soup from
No,
Larry Graham?
no,
Graham.
no soup. A joy box from Mierka, but no soup.
Thank you.
From Larry
Okay.
Graham. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to publicly thank Larry Grimm.
What else have you all been doing to stay joyful? Lance, what have you been up to?
I have a stack of presents in my next room right now, just behind the wall in front of me. I got a stack of
Oh,
of
that's
presents
nice.
that I need to wrap up and get in the mail. It's going to be a joyful evening after I get off this call because I get to just sit and I get to wrap and I get to write little notes why Daddy bought this weird thing at the thrift store that I wouldn't know what to do with if I found it on the street, but everything has its own little key. It's got a little in to everybody that's
Sure.
It's not the.
That's
If
fantastic.
you don't have the cash, it's the thought that counts. Am I right? And that gives you joy. It's a creative enterprise. It's something to get all these creative juices out of.
No, absolutely. The creative gifts are the best. Yeah.
Well, it's also just, there's something about being kind of locked in for 9 months that kind of starts making you, stuff is not nearly as important that you can just buy. Stuff that means something. I've been, a couple of our friends down here who have got kids, I've been baking cookies for them and taking cookies just because it's fun and they like to be surprised for no occasion and it's fun just to surprise them. And it's just stuff like that and your kids will love that stuff, Lance.
That's nice.
They'll remember it for always because you took the time to find them something weird and fun and tell them why. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that's just so meaningful. That stuff is so meaningful. It's lovely. My sister and I have been my sister and I've been enjoying, the nice thing about being in a smaller town is that it's easy to get to a place where there's not light pollution, where it's dark.
Oh,
we've
that
been
is nice.
We've been enjoying the night sky because we got to see a little bit of the northern lights.
Wow.
And we've been seeing every night it's not cloudy. We've been watching the conjunction, and we went out last night.
Wow.
We went out last night because there was an overlap of the 2 meteor showers and saw some shooting stars. So we've been,
That's amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
it is one of the nice things about living in a smaller town. It's you get to true dark much faster.
Yeah.
And you can see some of the really cool stuff in the night sky, which has been lovely. It's been lovely to see.
Beautiful.
The world
Talk
is
about
bigger.
joy. Yeah.
The
That's
world is
beautiful.
bigger than us, and it's kind of fun to be reminded sometimes that the world is bigger than us, and will continue on no matter what. So
Karen, your home looks festive. It looks great.
Beautiful.
yeah, we have electric candles, and then just a bunch of wooden beads on little picks, and then we have balls, and we decorate with those all over the place. And that's a little fake tree that we put up every year, but we're so happy with it.
Love
It
it.
looks great.
Yeah, and it looks nice outside in the curved window, so it's enough. It's enough to make the place look festive.
So what are you most excited about for when we are able to make art again? What are you all looking forward to?
Well, I am definitely looking forward to being in the same room with some of the best artists that I know, but I am also very excited about getting my points for Actors Equity so I can keep my insurance.
Hmm.
That's to be real. That's a lot of artists lost out. Not only have we lost jobs, but we've lost our insurance, and so that's just something that I look forward to. I think it'll take a while, but it's something that I look forward to in the future, not having to freak out about as much. Not just for me, but for my friends. In the community and all that. So.
Yeah, we hear that. What else? What else are people? I think for me, what I'm looking forward to is just being in a room together and having that shared experience. My favorite thing about being at any theater performance is just something that I think doesn't happen very much anymore in this world of technology and everybody looking down at their phones, and we don't have shared in-person experiences anymore. And as a lover of music and theater, I miss that a lot. So I can't wait to have that shared experience as an audience member. That's what I'm excited about.
I'm excited to have to be in the room again, to be making things, to be being an artist again. It's so nice. I mean, people like you, Abby, who have administrative positions, and Karen, obviously, as a teacher. I don't know about Doug and Mook, but these Zoom calls are like such a lifeblood to me. I love them so much. I look forward to them so much. Everybody's so over Zoom and is like, another Zoom call today. But no, it really does give me a chance to get in a room and like talk about big things like the stars in the sky, how big they are, and the little houses, how small they are. And just to enjoy just sort of that feeling of just sitting around and talking about the little things and the big things rather than the mundane things and the bad news days. It's just so nice to be in a room with other artists. And I think even non-artists miss that feeling, especially at a place like Red Orchid, where you are literally surrounded by artists and art and the human experience and all that art is meant to convey. So I really do look forward to being in a room full of artists and people who love art again more than anything in the world. How like you go to like a holiday party and it's like a family you're not all that familiar with, but you walk in and you just know there are dynamics happening. This cousin's mad at that uncle, and everybody's but the kitchen is a fully functioning organism that's been working the same way for the last 10-15 years, and there's hidden codes and a mutual understanding. And I feel like when people walk into Red Orchid, that's what they get this feeling of being among a family that you are maybe not a member of, but just by virtue of being there, it's kind of like welcome home. I love being a part of a family that has open arms like that, and it invites people to dine on our wares, to dine on the food that we provide.
Great, Lance. Now you make me
Opening
look like an
kitchen
asshole about talking about my insurance.
Oh,
No,
no.
That was so beautiful.
I also think that part of what we're talking about, I mean, but with both the practical, I'm not trying to make something clean about this. I'm a director, so I'm trying to tidy all the corners up. But there's something very clear about what both Mook said and what Lance said that is who we are. The practical and the ethereal that we put together all the time. And to me, in theater, we have chosen a collaborative art form in order to express ourselves. That's what we've chosen. And some of us have other things. I write, Lance writes, Mook makes miniatures. And we do all sorts of different kinds
And
of
I watch Rachel Maddow eating reduced fat wheat thins every night. I mean, there are things that, these are just outlets. And yeah.
But when you get to do stuff together, when you get to just be in a room together, I'm afraid I won't be able to stop hugging people
Yeah.
all over.
No, I know I'm going to be
Just
very
so
emotional when I step back into the space at Red Orchid, the house at Red Orchid. That's going to be quite a moment. Yeah.
I'm truly looking forward to seeing the show.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm truly looking forward just to sitting there going, oh my God,
Right.
it's starting again. I mean,
Yeah.
I want to also be doing a show, but I also am just so excited.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Seeing the show.
Yeah, absolutely. I really miss it a lot.
Yeah.
And I miss you all a lot.
Well, it gives me great joy to look at
Same
your
here.
faces.
Yeah, thanks to everybody for
And you, Doug, and you, Karen.
tonight to talk a little bit. It's been joyful just to see your faces and hear your stories. Anybody have any parting words or parting memories or joyful things to share?
I have a message for Shade Murray, if you don't mind.
Oh, shit, get in line, girl.
Listen, I just want Shade Murray to know I have never worn a wig at a Red Orchid theater. Peace. Over and over again. But I have never worn a wig.
She's been carrying that for a little.
Yeah.
That,
do you
yes,
want to elaborate it all
Right.
for people at home, Mook, or do you want to let that sit there? Okay.
I'll say this, that when I saw today's topic, joy, it seemed difficult, but I'm encouraged that we naturally found these joyful things to talk about and experiences that have brought us joy and will so in the future. So, yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we're in a special place, right? A Red Orchid is a magical place, and I'm grateful to be there with all of you. So I think it's easy to find those joyful moments for sure.
The last time I was doing a show over the Christmas, I've done a couple shows that opened in January, but the last time I did one of those was when Doug and I were doing the Nether. And we
yes.
We were rehearsing the Nether, and we just kept going, oh, Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh, what a beautiful holiday.
Oh,
treat.
Yeah. It was just one of those things, and it was just, I mean, you set things down and you go about your business, and it's fine, and we're all capable of doing that. But it was just one of those things that a couple times I'm like, it's Christmas time, isn't it? It's Christmas time in the city.
Yeah.
Horrible things are happening. And somehow that was joyful to me, which is so strange.
No, it's not. It makes me laugh really hard. Awesome. Merry Christmas, dead people. Dead. Merry Christmas, child. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for being here, and we hope everybody has a happy holidays, and we'll be coming at you soon with more Among Orchids episodes. But thanks to Karen and Mierka and Doug and Lance for joining us for this special holiday edition. So happy holidays, and we can't wait to see all of you very
It's good to see everybody's face, everybody. So good to
Yeah.
see everybody's face.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
Good night.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.